excitement on the last day, right? Okay, let's go. Sir? Let's go.
We're honored to have Curtis Sneeden of the Greater Topeka Partnership join us today. Curtis, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the September 26, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Bill Rippon, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First item of business.
First item is item 1 under proclamations presentations. Recognition of Commissioner Archer. I recognize you.
Oh.
That's who you are. This is everybody. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Matthew Bergman. I am here today on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 3. Commissioner Archer, on behalf of the FOP, we want to thank you for your dedication and service to our community. We have a couple of mementos here today. One is a plaque and one is an engraved watch. You've provided outstanding vision, leadership, and governance through your years on the County Commission, and we greatly appreciate everything that you have done for Shawnee County and its citizens. And for the plaque, it says, Commissioner Robert E. Archer, in appreciation of your service to Shawnee County and your unwavering support of law enforcement and Topeka FOP Lodge Number 3. Thank you.
Is the sergeant not going to say anything?
Thank you
so much. Wow. Well, it's a good way to start the day. It's not over.
No.
It's not, it's far from over. They told me this was a roast. So. In all seriousness, Commissioners, good morning. I'm Caleb Acree, Captain of the Administrative Division of the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Commissioner Archer, thank you. On behalf of Sheriff Brian Hill, Under Sheriff Jason Mecca, the command staff, the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, give you great thanks and appreciation for your dedication, leadership, and commitment to making Shawnee County a better place for everyone. You will be missed. Please keep in touch if there's ever anything we can do. You have our contact information. On that, I'll present you with a plaque. And it reads, Sheriff Brian C. Hill and the men and women of the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office honor Robert E. Archer for his dedicated service to the citizens of Shawnee County, Kansas, January 14th, 2013 through September 30th, 2019. Thank you, sir.
You only have 2 minutes, Brian.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. There's a story that goes behind this because when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, visiting a friend, that was the day that Roy Williams decided he was going to go and leave KU and go to North Carolina. That did cost me and my brother a rack of donuts at a convenience store, and we got mad and pushed it over when we heard about it. Commissioner Archer, you've been a friend, you've been a mentor, and you have supported the Shawnee County Department of Corrections for many years. And being there 30 years, and I've seen former Director Dick Klein here, there were times in our past when the Shawnee County Department of Corrections wasn't looked too kindly on. And there were times when I quite frankly said, I don't want to buy the paper, and I was ashamed to say Shawnee County is where I worked. I no longer say that. Since 2000, the commission decided to give us a vision, a mission, and a purpose, and to meet and exceed national standards. And you've been right on board with supporting and holding us accountable when we need to be. Please, we wish you the very best. We thank you for everything you've done for us. This is a tough job. We understand you had to listen to our plight of staffing and budgets, but you're always very supportive. And not only, again, were you a coach and a mentor to me personally, I call you friend. And with this, we give you a gift from the Shawnee County Department of Corrections, which does include some things that we hope that you can use, but also a letter from me personally and our department coin, which is the highest honor we give to anybody for their dedicated service to Shawnee County, this community. You've made us a better place to work and to live and to play. And sir, thank you.
Oh, there's more?
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. I could really echo everything Brian said and just put in public health. You have encouraged us and helped us to become a high-functioning health department, and you've helped address and advance the health of the whole community. And we really appreciate all you've done. So on behalf of the entire health department staff, we have a plaque. You're going to need a new shelf for all these awards to give you, and thank you for your support to the health department and to me personally. I appreciate all the advice and friendship you've shown me too. Thank you.
Commissioner Archer, good morning. My name is Curtis Sneed, and I'm with the Greater Topeka Partnership. It's my privilege to stand before you this morning briefly on behalf of the entire Greater Topeka Partnership team, to thank you, Commissioner Archer, for your years of service to our community and to bid you a very fond farewell. I'm sure that you know our CEO, Matt Pavarnik, would have been here to deliver this message himself if he didn't have a prior commitment that he simply wasn't able to break. The group called Downtown Topeka Inc. is having a retreat today, and they've actually invited consultants from out of town, and he felt very much stuck. He and Vince Fry would both be here, but I'm happy to deliver his sentiments on the team's behalf, and I would guess that Mr. Pavarnik has already reached out to you one-on-one. I'm joined by Molly Howie, and there may be some other members of the GTP team out in the lobby, all here to thank you. You have been an integral part of this county's forward momentum, not just since you joined the commission 6 years ago, but through your prior leadership on the city council as well. You've worked to balance the needs of District 3 with those of our community as a whole, and you've been an important voice at the table for many of the most important discussions in recent history about how best to move this community into the brighter future. Especially in your role as a member of JADO, you've been a vigilant steward of Shawnee County and its tax dollars, as well as the desires they've expressed over time at the polls. And we at the Greater Topeka Partnership have always known we could count on you to ask the tough but fair questions that ensured our partnership, and more particularly Go Topeka, was delivering on its obligations to JADO and the array of stakeholders who are our partners in this project of creating a brighter future. We're better because of your leadership, and Shawnee County is better as well. Thank you for being a consistent partner in government with various non-governmental and business leaders, all of us who share the common goal with you of ensuring that Shawnee County is an even better place for our grandchildren to live, work, and play than it is for us today. Many of us are also fortunate to thank you directly for your friendship during what has been, what will surely continue to be, one of the most exhilarating chapters in this community's history. And I think you can see from what I've brought to the podium that our token of appreciation to you is the assurance that we are guarding those precious JADO dollars very carefully. We wish you and your family all the best in the coming months and years, and thank you again for all you've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
when Shelley left us, we had a reception for her, and I was able to get a piece of the Willard Bridge to give to her. And we presented that to her as behalf of the commissioners.
Oh,
And it was pretty, I mean, that's a big gift. I mean, that set the bar kind of high. And when you announced you were leaving us, I sat down with Tim Laurent, and I asked him if we could get the flag from the 18th hole at the Shawnee County Golf Course, and he didn't think that that was appropriate. But he did have a better idea. On behalf of the Shawnee County employees and directors, I'd like to present you the Floyd Shawnee Golf Course flag signed by Gary Woodland in appreciation for your years of service and signed by the directors and deputies of the Shawnee County Commission.
Kevin, thank you. That was very much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to save my remarks for the end of the meeting. But in the meantime, I would like to introduce my wife and my daughter. If they'll stand, I know you can't tell which. My wife is in white, my daughter's in dark. And without them, I would never have achieved the things that I've tried to achieve in my life. So, thank you. Now you can sit down. But I will have some remarks at the end, trust me. Next item of business, please.
Item 2 under proclamations, presentations, quarterly report on Grace Med. Alice Weingartner, Director of Community Development from Grace Med.
Good morning, Commissioners. I didn't realize I'd be here on a packed house day. So before I do provide our report, Commissioner Archer, on behalf of Dave Sanford, the CEO of Grace Med, and our leadership team, we also want to thank you for the support and faith you had in us as we worked as a community to come together and strengthen our safety net system. So we appreciate what you've done in helping us make Shawnee County a better place for all. And we wish you all the best. So Alice Weingartner, Director of Community Development, Grace Med, presented before you is our second quarter report for 2019. You can see that we had over 3,900 unduplicated patients in the second quarter, which is lower than our first quarter, but very typical in how we see patients throughout the year. We count patients one time, and so we're not going to see that same group of people come in the second quarter typically. But we are still on a path for continued growth in the numbers of patients that we see. A couple of things that happened this summer. In July, for the first time, we sent staff to 13 of our Topeka public schools so that we could be there on the day that school enrollment, on-site enrollment took place. As a result of that very long day, but very productive day, we did see a significant increase in our patient schedules for pediatric patients, getting those back to school visits scheduled and hopefully helping to increase those immunization rates as well. We also became part of the Impact Avenues initiative that the city of Topeka is doing to try to address homelessness and school-aged children in our district. And so we're looking forward to being part of that initiative as well. In 2018, we were also recognized by HRSA, which is the Health Resources Services Administration, for several quality endeavors in the care that we provide our patients. So we were pretty excited about that. And then most recently, Grace Med has received a Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services grant. It's the Healthy Kids grant. And so we as an organization will be helping to enroll or re-enroll children into Medicaid or their parents who are eligible for Medicaid pretty much in all of Northeast Kansas from Wichita up to Johnson County. So that's a pretty big endeavor that we're taking on as well. So I would be happy to answer any questions you may have otherwise.
Questions for Alice this morning?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Next item of business, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
There is an item on the consent agenda, it's number 9, and I believe it had to do with purchase of a vehicle that needed to be explained a little bit. Captain?
Yeah, good morning, Captain Tom Bruno, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. We have a change in our consent agenda item. It's actually a repair to one of the vehicles that we had damage in an accident. The bid indicated that it was a $12,101.19 repair. The new bid is actually $17,383.72. Same vendor, still the lowest bid.
Okay. Any questions for the captain? Let the record, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, let the record reflect the change in the amount in item 9. All right, item 9 has 9 items in the consent agenda.
Move to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Under detention facility, University of Kansas Hospital, $108,129.16 is for inmate medical care. Under Sheriff, Tyler Technologies, Inc., $16,800 is for crime mapping software. Under solid waste recycling, Rarig Pacific Company, totaling $63,486.65 is for refuse cards. September 25th, total vouchers, $2,642,708.81. And I move that we approve the vouchers.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, corrections number 1, consider approval of request to add 2 surveillance cameras at the Adult Detention Center to correct blind spots at a cost of $5,402, payable to Sound Products, Inc., the sole source provider of the security system, with funding from contingency funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. As an ongoing mission that we have at the Department of Corrections and in compliance with our ACA accreditation standards and our Prison Rape Elimination Act, one of the main factors is to reduce and eliminate blind spots, to reduce any type of assaults or misconduct by those who are incarcerated in the Shawnee County Department of Corrections. And in going through with an increase of some incidents we saw in the kitchen, and we did see in the laundry area, and then go look and working with our safety officer, we did determine that we did need to add a couple new surveillance cameras into our areas. These will both be mission critical. They will help us reduce blind spots, and they are mission critical. We did speak with Betty regarding this. She felt that because of the increase in incidents that we did see in these 2 areas, with the added recommendation from our safety officer, that she felt that the contingency fund would be appropriate based upon your approval. I do have Major Kendall here with any questions specifically regarding the project that you might have for us.
Questions?
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B2, consider approval of request to purchase an additional software interface from Tyler Technology at a cost of $3,854, with funding from the 2019 contingency funds, and approval to purchase a fingerprint equipment from IDEMIA LLC for the adult and juvenile detention centers, and approved capital outlay request at a cost of $41,000, with funding from the capital outlay fund, and authorization and execution of contract C 344-2019 for same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. I think anybody, as everybody knows, as we get older and as technology continues to grow, a lot of things become unsupported. We recently were informed by the Kansas Bureau of Investigation and with our service provider that the software interface and the equipment that we have was no longer going to be supported with current equipment and technology. One of the things that we did put into our budget or capital outlay request was to purchase new fingerprint machines for both the adult and the juvenile Department of Corrections. Obviously, this is a statutory requirement that we have at the department that we need to fulfill, number one. Number two, the equipment that we have is becoming outdated and is no longer supported. Also in that is the cost of the interface of that equipment there. We did have money that was approved through the Board of Commissioners for the majority of this for the capital outlay for the equipment, but the interface was something extra that we did not know that was going to come down later, and that was something we also talked to Betty, and Betty felt that the contingency was a good place for that as well, based upon your approval. And I'm happy Eve's here as well, and I stand for any questions you may have.
Questions or comments for Brian?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Next item, please.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, public hearing and consider approval of use of design build as an alternative project delivery method for the Family Park project and approval of a project budget of up to $8 million.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Krause, Shawnee County Counselor. Before I begin, Mr. Chair, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your personal support of me and for everything you've done for the Counselor's office. You know what I mean, but I wanted to say that publicly. Thank you. This item, I'm going to hijack Tim's presentation a little bit to just discuss the statutory requirements. He's got those laid out in the memo that's attached to this item. We need to have a public hearing today because pursuant to state statute, we're required to have a public hearing for the Board of County Commissioners to decide whether to use design build as an alternative delivery method for this project. His memo does lay out the factors that he believes would allow for that decision to be made. We also need to discuss and arrive at a scope for the project that is going to be sent out in the RFP so that we know how much we're going to spend and what items we're going to ask for in that. And I'll state for today, this is a preliminary project scope based upon the information that we get back through the design process. This is not the final decision today. It'll be an interactive process, and the public will be involved in that too. So I'll be happy to answer any questions throughout this process about this.
County Counselor, can you describe for us in layman terms, what exactly does design build mean?
I'll attempt to do so. The best way to understand it is to compare it to the traditional delivery method that we use. And we see that often on public works projects where we have what's called design, bid, build. And that is you hire an engineer or an architect or sometimes both to design the project. Those plans are then sent out to contractors, and contractors then bid on those plans, and then we select the most appropriate bid to go ahead and construct the project. Design build is called an alternative delivery method where you combine the phases you combine the contractor with the designer, and they work together as a team. And you use that so that you have one entity that you're dealing with. It's appropriate on a project like this when we're not exactly sure exactly what we want. Instead of like a bridge or a road where we're fairly certain what we want in that, here we're going to design facilities, and we want to find out what can we get for our money? What can we do to give the most bang for the buck for the public for the types of facilities that we want? We've used this before on, I believe, the election office building. We did that so that we could take advantage of value engineering, alternatives in the design where we could save money on the project and things of that sort. I hope that answers the question.
It does. During the budget process, when we talked about capital outlay, there was very little to no discussion about Family Park and exactly what this would be. When there was a vote to take out bond money for $10 million, again, there was very little to no discussion as to what this would be. Through this design build process, I mean, we've talked about 21 pickleball courts and lighting and a recreational facility, but not really specifics as to what this would be. By having a design build, are we actually asking for an entity to go out into the public, get public input, talk to the public as to what the needs might be for in the area, and then come back to the commission and to say, for $8 million, these are the things that you might consider?
And we can absolutely do that, and we did that with the Stormontville Event Center renovation project. We did have our designers have public meetings, and during that selection process, you'll remember there were alternative designs or concepts provided that we then selected from and then eventually went the direction that we went.
I know that speaking with the Director of Parks and Recreation, there's at least been some, Falk Architects has drawn up some plans for Family Park, showing a pickleball court and a trail and a facility and a parking lot, and the facility having things such as an ice rink and basketball, volleyball, walking trails, recreational space, meeting space. I know that this is something that's going on internally inside of Parks and Rec, and they've been working with Falk Architect, who we have under contract for that. But again, the public hasn't had that opportunity to add input or to see exactly what it is that we're looking at. But are we at the spot now where you, as the county councilor, are asking the commission to specifically set forth criteria priorities of these are things that we would like to see in this facility?
I think if we're going to issue an RFP, now's the time. We don't have to be permanently married to what we ask for, but we need to set parameters so that we know what we're asking for, and so that when we get information back from the companies that bid, we have parameters within the work. And that's why we're talking scope on budget and scope on facilities.
Mr. Chairman, given that I think Commissioner Rippon probably has his fingerprints all over this and working on it, maybe Commissioner Rippon might enlighten the public, and again, this has been shared internally from Parks and Recreation, but now might be the time to make it public as to what it is that we're looking at, we're talking about.
Okay, I think there's been a little bit of a misconception that this is a pickleball facility. Well, it's much more than that. Currently, I'll just address pickleball to start with. Pickleball has really exploded on the scene, and our facility at Hughes Park has just outgrown itself. We're at a point now where they're plugging the street up with parking, and now they want lights and restrooms, and it's a small neighborhood park, and it's just, they've outgrown that space. What we're looking at, though, out at Family Park area is creating a community park. And a community park, we'll probably have some kind of a facility where we can have meeting rooms, things like that. Maybe we have a sheet of ice out there. They're doing a lot of them that are outdoors type. They're covered, but they're open to the outdoors. And I've talked to some developers who have done those, and they are incredible. I think we're looking at walking trails out there. Of course, the pickleballs I mentioned earlier. We're just probably a very nice play structure area for kids, an open air shelter somewhere on the site. But we're developing a neighborhood or a community park, out there. And we don't have anything like that in that area, and this would be a great draw for that area. And it's something that's I've referred to as deferred development, and it's something we need to do out there. And I think this will help. I think this will help keep people in Topeka. You know, we have a problem in Topeka, especially people who make over $45,000 a year. Like 40% of them are living outside the county, outside, not just the city, but outside the county. And we need something to keep these people in town and in our county. And I think this goes a long ways to help. It's a good start. So anyway, I hope that gives you a little better picture of what we're trying to develop out there. And,
Commissioner Rippon, and as part of you've been working on this for a while with Parks and Recreation and Falk Architect, have we engaged the public in any of these discussions? Because that's when we did Lake Shawnee, when we did the Midwest Aquatic Health Center, we had a lot of public engagement. And would you anticipate that through the design build, that, again, we already have some rough ideas that you've worked with Parks and Rec on, but is now the time where we would engage public to say, what is it the public is wanting to see?
yeah, I think once we get into contract with somebody, the design build, that will be part of the contract. They will run the public meetings. Parks and Rec will help, but that will be part of the process, the design process, is public input.
I might just ask the county councilor for clarification. When we did the Midwest Health Aquatic Facility, we carved out part of Family Park for a conditional use permit, or what's called a CUP, and it had to go before city council for approval. It does fall within that 3-mile boundary. So the city council was actually going to have to, planning commission and then city council will have to sign off on this, right?
That's my understanding, yes.
And so anything we do, we're probably going to need to make a presentation at some point to the city council to gain their support for it as well.
Once we get towards the end of the design process and we've had that public engagement and we arrive at what this project is ultimately going to be, then yes, that'll be part of that process. That'll be a necessary step before we begin construction.
And the city would have to go through the same golden factors that we consider in any sort of permits that we do?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, again, I think it's just good for the public to know that this is a process that has many steps, and it's not something that would be just rushed through, and that there's many steps and many layers, including presentations to the city council before anything would become final. But before we take public comment, Commissioner,
Yes.
I would move that we defer any action on this item until after October the 7th, when a new commissioner for your district has had the oath of office administered by the county clerk. With the precinct meeting on Friday the 27th, the governor then has 7 days to affirm it. October the 7th is the first meeting that the new commissioner would be sworn into. And back on January the 7th, when we considered the Expo Center vote on a similar issue, design build, and it was a project budget, you had said that it's inappropriate for a commission as structured now to vote on this because a new commissioner who will have to live with this decision is coming on board. That commissioner should be on board, study the issue, spend several weeks talking to the construction company, talking to the county councilor, talking to the Expo Center management, and then make a decision on how he wants to vote, because he will have to live with whatever decision is made. It's inappropriate to vote today without having Commissioner Rippon take his seat on the commission, study the issue. He is going to have to live with it, and I would ask to defer action until a new commission is seated. And that was the advice and eloquent comments that you had made back on January the 7th. And at that time, we were coming up against budget deadlines, and you did not prevail on that. The circumstances are different in this matter, in that we don't have budget deadlines, and the cost of construction actually did go up after We took that vote, so we, the county, did benefit in taking that vote when we did, and with the construction costs. But I would ask that we look at deferring this vote until a new commissioner comes on, given that they are going to have to live with the decisions, and I would ask you to stand by your words of January the 7th.
And those were my words. Commissioner Cook and you and Commissioner Bueller said, no. And so I honestly think you set a precedent that I don't want to overturn. But
Well,
very well done on the transcript.
well, but
I'm not going to support that. And you've made a motion. Is there a second? I don't hear a second, so I think we're wasting time on that issue, to be honest with you.
Well, I just thank you for that, but I would also remind you that you said it's phony to delay the vote. And 3 to 4 weeks is not going to impact the costs, and it's disrespectful to the commissioners. And so-
That's exactly what I said, and you voted against it along with Commissioner Bueller. And it was a 2-to-1 vote, and we moved on.
We do need to open a public hearing.
Yes, I will make a motion to open a public hearing on the issue. And take, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye.
No.
Opposed say no. Motion carries 2-to-1. Commissioner Cook dissents. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the commission on this issue.
John Fisher, 3517 Southwest Wanamaker Court. First off, Commissioner Archer, I'd like to thank you for your example of a public servant. And in the back of my mind, when I moved from Perry to Topeka, I wanted to go ahead and get involved in politics. But I see all the work you do here, after work, that I said, I'm not sure if I want to be able to do that. But in passing the baton to the race going beyond, your leadership also, there's a factor called empathy and humility of what Commissioner Cook was saying. The commissioner who replaces you will have to be responsible for that. And once I said before that the squeaky wheel gets all of the oil, there might be other people that object to that, of what Commissioner Rippon said. People of higher amount don't live in the county, they move out. And who is going to pay? When I talked with Betty Greiner just a little bit ago, she mentioned, project, as I understand, in the budget of $2,725,000 interest being paid in the budget. I asked the question before, would each of the commissioners like to pay $300,000 in interest on the original proposal of $10 million? That would make me broke. And the voters, it's kind of like, in my analogy of Commissioner Archer is giving a possible leaky bucket to the next person, that he has to be responsible and say to the voters, I can't do anything about this because this is the bucket I got. And to consider what Commissioner Cook went ahead and said, I think leadership sometimes needs to consider the possibility of, I can make a decision now, but there's a Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. Like if I make a decision and say my wife is going to do this, and I didn't check with her, I might not be in good. If the wife ain't happy, the house ain't going to be happy. And the house of our community called Topeka, Kansas, might not be happy of passing the baton. So everything can be considered in public input to the new commissioner to go ahead and say that. It's almost like, kind of like, maybe the wrong words of saying a gag order, that here you're stuck with it. I don't know the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story of trying to invest in the future of the keeping people in Topeka, Kansas. I came from Perry, was an agricultural community, and I had trouble as a trustee of the Perry Fire Department of saying we're no longer an agriculture community, We are a transplant of people come in for the weekend and leave. Party Grove up on Perry was not farming 100 acres of soybeans and corn. When people move, we have to go ahead. We could go, there's a possibility of a financial responsibility of $2,725,000, as I understand to date, could really help the budget of working on concrete items purchased. I'm rambling on, but I appreciate the work Commissioner Archer and Commissioner Rippon presented and working to go ahead and invest in the future, but I don't want a leaky bucket passed to the next commissioner. I'm trying to show respect for him, showing respect for the leadership of Commissioner Archer. Thank you for your time, and God bless you in your endeavors with your wife and your daughter, and enjoying retirement, sir.
Thank you, sir. I
Thank you.
appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else?
I'll behave myself, I promise. Hello. First of all, Mr. Archer, I want to thank you because I was really green when you were on the city council. I never did get to thank you for what you did for my neighborhood because my council person did not want to listen to me, and you got a special committee for us, for our neighborhood to fight the battle for our trailers, and we got some new rules and regulations done, and I thank you for that. I'm here today because there's a couple things. I spent the last 2 weeks listening to the people of Topeka. I was told one reason why people want to move out of Topeka, and it's the reason why is that people don't get to put their input in. They are getting told what their money's going to do. That kind of upset a lot of people this last couple weeks. And I was a listener. I did not put any input on this. I hear a lot of people that want to move because they don't get to have their voice heard first. People are worried that their taxes are going to go up because of the $10 million bond issue. But so much said for that. What I'm here for today is because, and it's really hard for me to be here today because the last time I was here, I was verbally attacked in this room. I was not protected. Nobody paid attention. There was a witness and nothing happened. I still have not gotten over it. I've had anxiety attacks and that over that. So much for that. But what I'm here for today is that I also I'm on the Park and Rec Advisory Board. I have been attacked by 2 employees of the Park Department trying to get me kicked off that advisory board. I didn't think it was fair because I wasn't allowed to go to that meeting to stand up for myself. So much for that. What I also am is I feel like my neighborhood was violated back when we had conversations with Mr. Cook and John Knight over our restroom. Those women that started that McKinley Park worked hard to get that restroom in there. It was vandalized. I still have the pictures. The only thing wrong with that bathroom was they destroyed the lock to the door, and they went in and took a sledgehammer to the metal stalls of the bathroom. That's it. Our neighborhood had the SORT grant funding at the time. We offered to replace that. Now, on the contract that was signed between the city and the county, it says upkeep of restrooms and of flower beds. Flower beds are also gone. That means you should have had the upkeep of that restroom. We offered you funding for that, and I still feel, now that my bathroom's gone and it was done behind my commissioner's back and the head person of the park department, that it should be replaced because it was taken out illegally as far as I'm concerned. But I want to thank you for your time and always being a friend and listening to me, Mr. Archer. And I hope your new venture is wonderful.
Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that very much. Anyone else?
Yes, my name is Carol Marple. First of all, I do thank you, Commissioner Archer, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. I am trainable. I learned. I don't quite know how to respond in this public hearing. I fully agree with Commissioner Cook. I think it's very unfair to go ahead with this vote. Secondly, I've spent a lot of time in the last month listening to people, as Teresa commented, and they're very upset. The people that signed the petition want the right to vote. This is $10 million of borrowed money. Their voices are not being heard, and I think that's more than obvious here. I'll make some other comments at the public comments. I did notice that this project amount is $8 million. What's going to happen with the other $2 million? Where is it going to be at?
To be decided.
Well, the proclamation was a $10 million family park. So this whole thing is so fluid, and it's changed almost every day. The public does not know what's going on. And how much have we spent to date with Falk Architecture? You know, we know nothing, but we are going to pay this bill. And I do not fear this is right. I don't think this is fair. And it's obvious that, as you said, it takes 2 votes to make a decision, that you have the 2 votes.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission? Good morning.
Hi, I'm Eldonna Coates, and I am a Shawnee County resident and a pickleball player. I'm also a USA Pickleball Association District Ambassador for the state of Kansas. And I, too, would like to thank Mr. Archer. Thank you for your support for community service over the last good many years, not only in the public service, but also when your prior occupation before. And I would also come today to thank all 3 commissioners for your support of pickleball that has been publicly recorded. And I would like to also thank the pickleball community that has gone through this last process, and I would like to thank the Parks and Recs Department, and I would also like the public, because they have sifted through many things and have spoken out. And so right now I would just like to thank you all for your support and in everything you do to make this project move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else to address the commission? Then I will make a motion to close the public hearing and approve the request.
Second.
Motion made to close the public hearing and approve the request by Commissioner Archer. Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
We have not followed the advice or request of our county counselor. Our county counselor has asked us to establish a scope of this design build. We have not yet discussed, if we want to make a motion to close the public hearing, I'm not opposed to that, but I think there needs to be some preliminary discussion among the 3 commissioners as to the scope of the project. So if we could take this up as 2 separate items.
Okay, certainly. Motion to close the public hearing. Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Now, as far as discussion of scope, I think it was clear from Tim Laurent's memorandum what the scope would be, unless there are motions to tighten that scope or change that scope. I was very happy with the way it was documented, and I have no desire to make a change in the scope.
Commissioner, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, would the commission accept, and Commissioner Rippon, if we've been working, or if you've been working with Parks and Recreation and Falk Architect to at least get these preliminary sketches together, having that included with your motion so that the public would then, again, it's already been given to the clerk as a public record, but just to have so the public knows what the design build at this point is considering to have a visual graphic to the words parking, lighting, restrooms, pickleball court, shelter house, playground equipment, fitness trails, indoor meeting facility, and/or other such park and recreation facilities as might be selected through design build. So at least the public has some input. There's not been public input up to this point,
And what are you asking for?
including these graphics along
Sure.
with the motion.
We could include these. Yeah.
It's fine with me. I assume they're going to be modified and changed, and as the public comes forward, things will change. So,
All right.
but
Yeah.
as initial drawings,
Sure.
if that's,
I'm fine with that.
All right.
So there's a motion to amend the original motion. So is there a second to amend to include the documents?
I will second the motion to amend the original to include the documents. But this is just a motion to amend at this point.
okay.
Yeah, I can second that, that's fine.
All right, motion made to whatever Cook said. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries, I think, 3-0.
Now we have the final motion.
Okay. Motion to approve.
A second.
And Commissioner Archer, I am going to dissent on this.
Right.
Again, this is an item that should be deferred until a new commissioner comes on board. This is an item that should have more public input into it. I don't believe it is ripe at this point. I've gone on record as saying the master plan does call for the Southwest. I'm not in opposition to that, but I think that there needs to be more public input into this before we move forward on it, and it is not yet ripe. And so that is my dissent.
And I understand that. We simply disagree. We spent well over $100,000 on a master plan that specifically identified this as a goal, a top priority, that there be a multi-generational center in southwest Topeka. Land that we own, we've used. We've had hundreds of community leaders, and we've had many hundreds of surveys about what's needed, and those were documented in the master plan. And so we just have a disagreement on how much is overload and how much can we use that we already have. So, motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no.
No.
Motion carries 2-1. Commissioner Cook dissents. Next item, please.
Item C2, consider approval of request to reject the bid for the Shawnee North Wading Pool Plumbing Repairs Project and allow Parks and Recreation to rebid the project with changes to the bid specifications to convert the area to a splash pad.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. I, too, would like to just thank you, Commissioner Archer. I've only been here for about 9 months, but I appreciate the amount of support that I've received and the faith that you've shown in me, as well as the other two commissioners. I will say that when I went home the night after you had announced my youngest daughter, I said that Commissioner Archer had announced that he was leaving the commission, and she said, "Oh, he was my favorite." So, no disrespect to Commissioner Cook or Commissioner Rippon, but you struck a chord with her, so I appreciate that. I'm here today to, on July 29, 2019, you did give us permission to go out for bid to make repairs to the Shawnee North wading pool, which has been out of service now for a while. We only received one bid back, and that was significantly higher, over $100,000 higher than what we had anticipated. So we are asking to reject that bid and go out for a new bid. And we are, at this point, looking to convert that to a splash pad, which we think will be more economical, and we think it'll meet the needs of the folks in that area. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Yes, Commissioner Cook.
instead of us going directly to a splash pad from the wading pool, can we have this as an alternative? So that if we bid it, the bidder would have an alternative too, and so we could look at those two different options. I hate us just abandoning the wading pool altogether. I understand our construction costs, our concrete costs were over 100,000 higher than what we had anticipated. Our deferred budget maintenance is very tight. We don't have a lot of money for deferred maintenance. This is an item that is very costly. But rather than us just abandoning the wading pool altogether, if we could...
I believe it'll come in quite a bit less, but I think we can do that. We'd be happy to do that.
I would make a motion to amend the proposal to reflect that it would be an alternative as opposed to a, as it's worded now, to, with changes to the bid specifications, to have an alternative of converting the area to a splash pad.
Seconded.
Yeah, let the record reflect the amendment made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next item, please.
Item D, Facilities Maintenance. Number 1, consider approval to accept an emergency replacement bid from Interstate Elevator to replace the elevator drive motor and the primary motor starter on the elevator at the North Annex at a cost of $10,614.52, with funding from the 2019 Contingency Fund and authorization and execution of contract C 345-2019 for same.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. Bill Kroll is on vacation this week, so I'll be presenting this. I also want to just add my thank you to Commissioner Archer for everything you've done for Shawnee County and for our community. You will be missed.
Thank you.
This item is an item, as she read, the North Annex elevator. On September the 12th, we had a thunderstorm that caused severe damage to the elevator drive motor. As you know, that is the only elevator we have at the North Annex, so we handled this as an emergency purchase to get it done and completed as soon as possible. The motor needed to be replaced, but also the primary motor starter was replaced. That was replaced with a newer model that will protect the motor from this happening in the future from some type of an electrical item like the storm caused in this instance. The total cost is $10,614.52, and I'm asking that approval to pay that out of the 2019 contingency funds because this was obviously something that was unexpected and unbudgeted.
Questions or comments?
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Betty. Next item, please.
Item E, Health Department. Number 1, consider approval of request to reclassify 13 registered nurse positions, resulting in an increase from $22.96 per hour to $23.96 per hour, at an additional cost of, or an annual additional cost of $30,000 with funding from grants and the Shawnee County Health Department's 2019 and 2020 budgets.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oakes from the Health Department. At the end of January, you approved a position for us to open an RN position, and we have been unable to find a qualified candidate for that position. So now we're at the end of September. And so we did a lot of discussion amongst the leadership team. I met with Betty Griner, I met with Angela Lewis and the union representative to talk about what we could do to try to make these positions more attractive. And as you can see in the next item up, we have 2 more openings now. So this was where we landed to ask to increase the salary by $1 an hour. It still keeps it within. There's a lot of other people on the pay scale, so I had to be careful about not paying more than supervisors, so we looked at all those issues. I will tell you that I went out and counted on one of the hospital websites. There's 61 RN openings right now. So we're really in a tough market to try to fill RNs. The other thing we're going to be doing is, as a leadership team, is looking ahead to how we can do business a little differently. How can we survive with less RNs and more maybe LPNs or more medical assistants? And so we will be looking at that, because I think that's just the future, is we're not going to be able to find enough RNs. This does affect 13 positions in the health department across many departments, but I do, and we can handle it in our budget and the grants. I do think it is a step to try to fill this position. We advertise nationally. I just don't know what else to do at this point. We've even called people and said, hey, come work for us. That didn't really work either, even though it's a great place to work. So we're hoping that this $1 an hour does help some more folks think about having a great job with the county with better hours than the hospitals and some challenging work. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Linda? I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you,
Commissioners.
Linda. Next item, please.
Item E2, consider approval of request to fill 2 vacant registered nurse positions at the Maternal Children Health Outreach Program at a cost of $69,899 each, including benefits, with funding from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Maternal Child Health Block Grant, and to fill any position that becomes vacant from filling these positions.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher with the Shawnee County Health Department. Today we are requesting to fill 2 vacant RN positions in our Maternal Child Health Outreach Program. One of these is due to a recent resignation. The other one has been vacant for some time. We purposely held that position open in hopes we would receive grant funding to fill it. And this year we did receive enough grant funding through our Maternal Child Health Block Grant through KDHE to fill that. And both of the positions are included in our 2019 and 2020 budgets. So a little bit about what these positions do. They do a variety of jobs. Linda mentioned the one position we have had open. That particular position is in our nurse family partnership, which is a very specific job. These do a lot of different jobs, though. They do newborn home visits, which provide services to at-risk families transitioning from hospital to home. They also teach our baby basics classes, which are our group prenatal education classes. They also do the record abstractions for our fetal infant mortality review program. We also plan to begin offering SCRIPT in the future, which is smoking cessation and reduction pregnancy treatment for women here in Shawnee County. We do have a high smoking rate among our pregnant women. In addition, we also do other outreach services. Right now, we're partnered with USD 450 and provide vision screening for their preschool and pre-K programs and have another school district interested. And we also partner with the Topeka Shawnee County Public Library on their Learn and Play bus. So as you see, there's a lot of variety that these jobs do, and it's really important that we get these positions filled in order to carry on the good work that they do here in our community. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Question?
Have none.
Motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or member of the public to address the commission.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher with the Shawnee County Health Department. I want to announce that our next session of our baby basics classes, which are our group prenatal classes, they're open and free to any expecting mom here in Shawnee County. They start next week, October 2nd, and will run through November 6th. They're from 4 to 6:30 p.m. They're hosted at the Shawnee County Health Department. It's a series of 6 classes. For women that attend 4 of the 6 classes, there is an incentive to them. The phone number to call to register is 251-5647. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby with Parks and Rec. First of all, I want to say thank you. You wore a purple tie today. I assume that's just for me, so I put on a Carolina blue shirt. I truly appreciate that, Commissioner Archer. On a serious note, though, thank you for everything you've done. You're my commissioner in my district, and you've always represented our district well. And thank you for all the stuff you've done for Parks and Rec. Starting back with the consolidation, you and Commissioner Bueller were leading forces through that, and I know that was a difficult and challenge because we had tried for, I think, 30 years to consolidate the departments, so thank you for that. Truly appreciate it. On a good note, this past week, I don't know if you noticed, we had our unified softball program. Got a lot of air through WIBW and our Capital Journal, and it's a program we haven't really talked a lot about. But there's 124 athletes with special needs that participate in a program like this. They played every Tuesday night. It takes roughly 60 volunteers to get through the summer, along with a lot of coaches, partnership with Civitan, along with Loving Hearts Training Center. Our Eric Ives has been a coach out there for 14 years. I truly appreciate the support of him and WIBW on this program. And I'd like to give a shout out in the article and in the news media, it mentioned our adult softball program, and they do a lot of work, but the person behind the scenes for this was Stacy Wonder. She's worked many years with this program. It's one that touches her heart, and she is truly the backbone of this. So proud of her accomplishments, and I just want to give a shout out for that. And again, thank you, Commissioner Archer.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. Carol Marple again. Before I say what I had come here to say, I would like to make a few other comments. We've talked about the master plan, and that's exactly what it is, a plan. Any farmer will tell you a plan is made to be modified. At the beginning of the year, Ben and I sat down and make a plan as to what we're going to do, plant on our farm. But by the time April or May rolls around, we're probably going to have to adjust that plan because we have no control over the weather. We have no control over the availability of fertilizer or anything like that. So this master plan is simply a plan, and if I do not recall the exact date when it was written, but I think it was several years ago. I think we need to look seriously about how our county is today. We are losing population. We have a lot of things that need to be fixed. Commissioner Archer spoke about people earning $45,000 or less as an annual income. These people have needs. A lot of them live in apartments. Their children do not have access to playgrounds. They do not have swing sets in their backyards. You know, a plan is not set in stone and rigid. It is simply a plan. And I also believe that the multi-generational family park or the family park that you want to build is down the list in the plan. So I think we have to be realistic about what our community looks like today. And that being said, I'll move on to what I did come to say. I wanted to wear this pink shirt one last time. By now, most of you know that we did not get the required number of signatures. I wanted to begin thanking all the 4,000 people that came forth and signed the petition. It was just exciting to watch. We had parents calling children, children's calling parents, neighbors calling neighbor, friends calling friends. At the last count, we had over 100 people out collecting signatures. We had 4 businesses that volunteered designated employees to take signatures. And I cannot say enough thanks to the media for their contribution. They contributed greatly by spreading the word about signing locations and keeping the public updated. I want to step back and give a little history. On August the 15th, 2 county commissioners, Bob Archer and Bill Rippon, voted to spend $10 million of borrowed money on a family park located at 21st and Urish Road. The protest petition was born from that vote. We began the original signature collection on September 4th with over 450 signatures collected, which we then had to destroy. County Councilor James Crowell issued his protest petition language advisory opinion on Tuesday, September 10th, about the approved language for the petition drive to go forward. We reworked our petition and started collecting signatures in earnest the following days. Our very numbers reflect the opposition to the borrowing of the money to build this park. Everyone that signed the petition was united in one cause, in that they felt that the borrowing of $10 million should be voted on by the voters, the taxpayers. The single most consistent comment after that was, let's fix our roads in both the city and the county first. Followed close by, we need to fix what we already have. I also learned firsthand about how many of our jobs are being filled by people living outside the county. We work hard on creating jobs, but they are not always filled by local people who take most of their paychecks and spend their money at their home county, where they also pay their property taxes. And that is not in Shawnee County that provides them with employment. I consider myself a winner in this petition drive because I got to meet a lot of terrific people that were passionate about our community. And I have to share one story with you, and I would really hope that I can be like her when I grow up. Mrs. Thelma Bray, who lives in Silver Lake, called me and said she wanted to sign a petition. She said, I'm not good with numbers. I'm either 49 or 94. I said, well, you sound 49 to me, but I also thought, I'm kind of near Silver Lake, I'll just go over and see her and let her sign the petition. I got over there, and Mrs. Bray not only wanted to sign the petition, but she wanted to take some with her, and she was 94. That lady was a going lady. Her day was filled. She made me tired just listening to her. She showed up at Garfield Park, where we were having a signing, and she handed me 3 filled petition blanks. That was 30 signatures. She had gone out and gotten those. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. But that's how much she believed in being able to vote for this $10 million. I was over at Oakland Tuesday, and I looked up, and there's Mrs. Bray again. She had gone to get her prescription filled, and she got everybody in the store to sign the petition. She was bringing me more signatures. She also remarked that while she was sitting there, she had read the board that they had a Zumba class at 6 o'clock, and it was about 2:30 in the afternoon, that she thought maybe she'd sit there and just get a few more signatures. And I said, maybe, it's hot, you need to probably go home. But she was passionate about this, and that's what a lot of people in this community are. We are passionate about our community. I want to leave everybody with a few thoughts. Had we been able to use the number of actual voters that voted in the 2018 general election, which was 70,994 voters, 5% of that number was 3,550. We would have easily hit our required number of signatures. People in this community care and are informed about what happens here. And our elected officials are accountable for their actions. I was asked if I would do this again, and I replied, you bet. We were a great team, and I again want to thank you to everybody.
Anyone else to address the commission?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectre Venue Management in the Stormont Vale Event Center. I would feel remiss if I didn't give you one last administrative update on your way out, but I just personally wanted to thank you. When my family and I moved here 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, you and the rest of the commissioners in this community have made it such a welcoming place to live. We love this city. We absolutely have fallen in love here. So, and I did want to share with you, I don't have many regrets since moving here to Topeka, but one has certainly been not being able to provide you with your own Darius Rucker concert. But do give me some time. I hope you will come out and visit us again after the renovations are complete, and maybe by that time we'll get him here to Topeka. So thank you.
Please put that on the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Terry Roberts. I'm a registered nurse, and I serve as the chairperson of the Shawnee County Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. I am here today in that capacity. In January, at our meeting on January 29th, the Shawnee County Health Department staff presented to our advisory committee a request asking them to endorse a recommendation to move forward with tobacco-free parks policy, okay? Those things take time to develop. So the advisory board voted unanimously at that meeting to authorize the endorsement of moving forward with that policy. Now, Shawnee County Parks and Rec Advisory Committee appointed one of our committee members. He's a respiratory therapist, Derek Florick, on the advisory committee to serve with the leadership of Shawnee County Parks and Rec and the Shawnee County Health Department. We got a presentation on Tuesday night, kind of an update from Amanda Monholland, who is the health promotion coordinator, works with Craig Barnes, and she presented to us other cities that had done it, a complete analysis of our current clean indoor air and policies as they lay out today. And we asked that they bring back to the advisory committee whatever proposal they finish and the timeline, because as you know, those kinds of things are fairly controversial. The tobacco industry is a formidable lobbyist everywhere you go. And so we will be entertaining that as well in the future. Once we are done and we have a recommendation, we will ask that it be put on the Board of County Commissioners meeting agenda for consideration. I did want to say that we, as part of that proposal in January, it was inclusive of all forms of tobacco, including electronic cigarettes. And we had some discussion at the meeting, a minor discussion, but the youth vaping has in the last 90 days received considerable attention in the national media and the local media due to serious health conditions that require hospitalization. And not just youth. There have been adults who have also perished, died, and who have had issues. But it's the youth that really, I think, has driven this issue. In fact, there's an LA article today about how important the recognition by the media is to really ratchet up the attention to youth vaping and the seriousness of it. These products, vaping products are tobacco delivery devices, and they will be included in the proposal that is coming forward to you. And last, on a personal note, I did want to acknowledge Commissioner Archer. I personally appreciate your years of public service to this community. It is never easy or fun, and I wish you the best in retirement and your continued health journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anyone else to address the commission? Commissioner Cook?
Just noting that next week, Commissioner Rippon and I will be taking intercity visit with the Greater Topeka Partnership to Montgomery, Alabama. Look forward to all that we can learn from those that have gone in other communities and what we might be able to bring back to Shawnee County.
Good.
Thank you.
Safe trip. Commissioner Rippon?
All right. Well, I had the privilege of attending a moving ceremony at the Combat Air Museum. A veteran, John Musgrave, was reissued his medals that he got from Vietnam. He was wounded severely. He was a Marine, and he was probably the feature person in Ken Burns's documentary on the Vietnam War. And but it was just very moving to see him get his medals back, and it was a great ceremony. That's all I can say. Anyway, if you haven't watched the Vietnam Ken Burns documentary, it is very good. I know there's currently one going on right now on country western music. It's been fascinating to watch. But John Musgrave was very deserving to get all of his medals back, and I enjoyed that very much. I also wanted to thank Commissioner Archer for all his commitment to Shawnee County. And I know that a lot of days it's not fun, and he has bounced with the tide and done a great job. And I have learned so much just watching and serving with him, and it's been a privilege and an honor to be here with you. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner. That means a lot to me. I guess I get the last word. It has been an honor and the highlight of my life to be a Shawnee County Commissioner. The popularity of being an elected official has really never meant that much to me. As my wife can tell you many times, I hated the attention. But it has been working with the employees of Shawnee County that has made it a dream come true for me. I will miss my fellow commissioners. I will miss Betty Griner, who always made us look like financial geniuses. I will miss newcomers Kurt Niehaus and Tim Laurent, who are already making their mark in Shawnee County. I will miss Dusty Nichols, who has always kept Shawnee County safe. I will miss Linda Oakes, who delayed retirement to dramatically improve the health department. I'll miss Pat Oblander, who always dazzled us with his talk of the sky is the limit, but it includes clouds. That's an IT joke, by the way. I will miss Jim Crowell, who has been a friend and has made us look like legal geniuses. I'll miss Steve Bauman, who ensured taxpayers paid their fair share, not a penny more or a penny less. I will miss Angela Lewis, who rode on the back of trash trucks to understand the challenges and who is simply the best HR director. I'll miss Brian Cole, who always asked for a 2-minute meeting, and you were lucky to keep it to 30. And finally, I'll miss Jane Rezac, who always provided guidance and protected the honesty and integrity of the commission. I think I'll miss Jane most. I'll miss all of our employees, and I wish them all well. Every time I've spoken to one of our employees, I've always felt better about them. I've always felt better about myself, and I've always felt better about the future of Shawnee County. Thank you all. Next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There's not a need for an executive session. Please stay for the reception if you have some time. Otherwise, we're officially adjourned. Thank you for coming today.
Made it through that.